Hey everybody, this is Erica, the technology nerd who likes to film stuff, and last week I was at CES and I've had a chance to play around with a lot of cool stuff, and one of the devices that caught my attention was the Huawei Honor 5X. Now, a lot of you guys are probably familiar now with Huawei because they produced the Nexus 6P that a lot of people really fell in love with, including myself. So here is the Honor 5X. It's being released into the United States. You can buy it for $199. It's on pre-order right now. It comes unlocked. It's going to work on AT&T and on T-Mobile. This device also has two SIM card trays, so you can pop in a T-Mobile SIM and an AT&T SIM at the same time. You should get LTE on both of these. This phone comes with a 5.5-inch display and also has a really premium build to boot. Plus, you've got that awesome fingerprint sensor like we saw on the Nexus 6P. A lot of really nice features that come with it as well to control the phone. So let's go ahead and look at it a little bit. So on the front we have the receiver, 5 megapixel front facing camera, and also ambient light sensor and proximity sensor. On the right hand side we have the volume rocker and also a power button. Then on the left we have the two trays for the SIM cards, micro SIM and nano SIM, and also SD card slot. Then on the bottom we have a speaker and a microphone. Then on the top we have the standard headphone jack and also microphone. Lastly, on the back we have a 13 megapixel camera and a single LED flash, and also the fingerprint scanner as well. Now, the lighting was really terrible at the Huawei booth, and it was really hard to get the white balance right, even with a white balance card. So the display looks overly blue here, but in reality it's more like this. I adjusted the white balance to this display. It's a little bit on the cool side, but not terribly so. And also, I noticed that the colors are oversaturated. I overall would not say it's a terrible display though. It's 1080p, 5.5 inches, so you have a nice pixel density. You have the Moto G third generation that's only 720p, so it's nice to have a full HD display here for this price. You do have the option to mess around with the color temperature. You can make it more warm or more cool, more bluish looking, but unfortunately when you make it warm, it gives it a green tint and it's not so nice. Now as for the UI, this is a very heavily skinned Lollipop 5.1.1. We are going to be getting Marshmallow. Huawei USA have said that they're going to be updating this to Marshmallow. Now this is EMUI 3.1, and you can see that it looks very similar to the iPhone. It's very iPhone-esque. There is no app drawer. Now I really would not worry about that too much because I was very easily able to install the Google Now launcher, and now I have an app drawer. And if for some reason you don't like their brand of icons, you can install a different launcher and change the icons to your heart's content. And if you still don't like the look of some of the aspects of this phone, check out the XDA developers dev community. Hopefully they'll be doing something for this phone. Spec-wise, we have the Snapdragon 615 SoC inside of this, so this is not the strongest performing device you're going to find out there. It's got an octa-core CPU, the Adreno 405 GPU. We've got 2 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of internal storage. We've also got a decent 3000 mAh battery inside of this as well. It's non-removable. The interface feels smooth enough. I do notice a little bit of lagginess here and there, a little bit of stuttering. It's not enough to where it really bothers me, but this is where it starts to show that this is not a top-end device. But I still think that the performance is really good for the price. So besides the premium build of this phone, my most favorite thing about this is that fingerprint sensor that's on the back. I loved it on the Nexus 6P, and this actually adds more functionality to it. So not only is it very quick and very accurate at unlocking the phone, you've got some other little tidbits that you can do with it. Now, if you do or do not like these little tidbits, you can turn them on and off underneath the fingerprint ID settings. You can use the sensor to get back to the home screen. You can use the sensor to take video and also take a photo. You can use it to answer a phone call. You can also stop an alarm by touching and holding on it. Also, there's a couple things that you can do when you slide your finger over it. So if you want to get to your recent applications, if you slide upward on top of the sensor, it's going to bring you into the recent apps. If you slide downward, it's going to bring you underneath your notification panel. I find that I would actually use these because they are very intuitive, and also your finger naturally touches that sensor anyway. Now as for the camera, it has a 13 megapixel sensor, it has an f2.2 aperture lens, and again we have that iPhone-esque type of a layout for the camera interface. You've got a couple of things you can mess around with, although I don't see many people actually using those. I'm glad that we have Paramount settings like HDR included though. This is a 13 megapixel camera, but the aspect of the sensor itself is 4:3. So if you want to take a 16:9 aspect photo, unfortunately you have to knock it down to 10 megapixels, which is really not so nice. From the samples I've seen, this camera is just okay, but I won't really have a verdict unless I take one home and really play with it. One thing to pay attention to, though, if you want to pick one of these guys up once it's released, is that it does not have NFC, so you won't be able to use Android Pay, and also there's no gyroscope in this either, so make of that what you will. But we really aren't expecting this to add up to other devices from Huawei that are more advanced, like the Mate 8, but still I could see the Honor 5X being a really excellent option for a lot of people, whether you're a student, whether you just want a backup phone, or whether you just don't want all those bells and whistles. This is a great price point, $199. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and good night.